Hi guys, welcome back to Murder in Retrograde. This week we've got a very interesting case that's still really being investigated. But before we get into it, I have like breaking news that came out today. So let's just get into it all. So I'm Jenna Kaplan,
I'm Brittany Sheffrin.
and this is Murder in Retrograde. Okay, I have to pull my
Hit me
phone
with
up.
it.
Okay, I have to pull my phone up so I can quote some stuff.
Okay.
But it just came out this morning, and if you already know this, I'm gonna be so sad. So oh my God, why can't I think of their Chad Daybell and Lori Daybell. Okay.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about them in a minute, but they are now being indicted for murder of both children, and Chad has been indicted for murder of Tammy Daybell. Like, I have chills. I can't
Wow.
even, I'm so excited. I really didn't think they were going to have enough. So I don't know what they have. It doesn't say. But there is and then there's other things that came through, like Lori's also being indicted on grand theft charges related to Social Security survivor benefits, while Chad is facing 2 counts of insurance fraud because he was listed as the beneficiary for Tammy and received funds after her death. Um, so the grand jury came back yesterday with all of this, and they just released it today. And this is a quote from the prosecutor. So it says, "We know many members of the community may feel that progress on this case has been slow. Due to the ongoing safety restrictions imposed by the courts during the pandemic, we just recently were given permission to present information to the grand jury for their review." They could, and that was end quote. And the article, this is from Idaho News. It says they could face the death penalty. They are scheduled to make a court appearance on their new charges Wednesday, which is tomorrow. But this will be aired later than that. But we'll post everything kind of on Instagram or whatever, or I'm sure you'll see it if you're looking out for it. But that's really exciting.
That is wild. I can't believe it. So this was a grand jury in Idaho.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wonder if Hawaii will go forward with, because they could also get charged there. But I think usually when that happens, they decide like who has the better chance of getting like
Yeah,
the biggest penalty. So
right.
they'll probably give it to Idaho because that's
Because there's
where.
so many things going on there. Like all of these I mean, I feel like they are really trying to do their best to get everything they possibly can against these people to put them away for as long as they possibly can.
It's exactly like you said, too, because I had completely given up hope on this case. And you said so long ago, because of COVID, things are going to take so much longer. There's a huge backlog. And you're right. And even like there's nobody working in stores, like there's help wanted signs
I know,
everywhere.
restaurants, store, it's crazy. It's totally
Yeah.
crazy. And it's so funny. I feel like this is like the next month is going to be interesting because there's so many of these things that have been put on hold. Everything's
Yeah.
being revisited in June. So there's going to be lots and
Right.
lots of updates on a lot of cases that we've talked about in the last few months. So stick
It's just
around.
wild. We're recording this on the anniversary of George Floyd's murder. Isn't that wild? It's been a year.
That does not
And
even seem possible. Like,
no, no, it
wow.
doesn't. Just think of how much society has changed since then. Our world it was kind of mind boggling to me. I don't know
Feel-
if you saw, but I was watching footage, I think CNN, and I don't know if it was CNN, but they're speaking to a correspondent who was there, like right where he died. And all of a sudden you hear gunshots and the camera goes down. There's a shooting right near the George Floyd memorial. It was so scary. You just hear people like, get down, get down, get down.
And like right on cue, do you hear the ambulances like driving by?
That's another thing. Astrologically, it's just like bonkers right
Well,
now.
and we're not even in retrograde yet. It's coming. And I think
No, but
like,
I learned that there's a PMS period. There's a pre
oh,
Mercury in
that makes
retrograde,
sense because
doesn't it? Because I'm already having things go haywire.
well, I feel like you and I had this conversation like a week or so ago, and we're like, it has to be in retrograde right now, and it
Yeah.
wasn't. But anyway, sorry for my paint hands, by the way. If I look like a bird pooed on me, it's not.
You're just a Taurus.
Okay, so anyways, let's get into the case that we're going to cover today, but I just had to share because I literally an hour ago I saw this and I was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe it."
Do you happen to know if because they decided they are gonna try them together, right? I think
That
we
was the
reported
last that
that.
I heard. Yeah, the judge, because of like financial reasons, was going to try them together. But I have to wonder if now this Tammy Daybell murder charge is coming, is that going to change? Because she's not a part of necessary. I mean, she is about the bigger picture, but I feel like JJ and Tylee are kind of this one section of stuff, and there's a lot of charges that go with that. And then she's kind
Yeah,
of a separate, or is he just going to go on trial twice, which then is like counterproductive, right? Like, anyway, I don't know. I'm sure we'll
yeah.
find out. So,
Yeah.
anyway,
Okay, so today we are going to tell you about a woman named Jerilyn Bessie Nicholson. She was 27 years old, and so there's two ways to pronounce this as I found it on the internet. Yupik or Yupik, which is an indigenous tribe. She was known to her family as Annie, and she grew up in Bethel and Dillingham before moving to Anchorage. And to avoid confusion, we're just going to call her Annie in this
yeah.
episode. Yupik, also called Yupit or Western Eskimo, are indigenous Arctic people traditionally residing in Siberia, St. Lawrence Island, and the Diomede Islands in the Bering Sea and Alaska. So, very north of us and freezing cold. Unfortunately, we don't know that much about Annie other than she was a native Alaskan with a large extended family who seemed to have a strong Christian faith. Annie had been described as a bright light and a beautiful soul. Family stated that she was truly beautiful inside and out. It was no surprise that everyone around her sensed her vibrant and fun loving nature. On April 30th, Annie was reported missing by her father. She was last seen on April 24th by relatives who told detectives Annie had been picked up from a hospital and was dropped off at her ex boyfriend's home in Eagle River. The ex boyfriend we're referring to was Eddie Thomas Jr.
Yes. So, according to Eddie Thomas Jr., who was brought into the police for an interview after this has come to light that he was the last person to see her. And he says that Annie came over and wanted to take a bath in his apartment. And it says drink alcohol, which I feel like sounds funny. It's like to drink a glass of wine, what is she? Drink alcohol. She just was come in and drink alcohol. Like it just sounded so weird. But anyways, so she wanted to take a bath and have a drink. And he says no. And apparently part of the reason he says no to her is that there's like some talk that she was supposed to be entering like a rehab facility of some sort. And it does again, there's a lot of information we're missing because this is really, really new. There's nothing to say that was for sure. This is all kind of coming from him.
But that would make sense of why he said
Yeah, and that's
alcohol.
why I feel like it is important and is listed in on these, interview documents and stuff that came out because it kind of and it gives some context. But
Yeah.
so apparently after that they got into a bit of a fight because of this whole alcohol situation, and she left within 1 hour of arriving. And Eddie described her as wearing sweatpants, a cut-up shirt, no jacket, and carrying a black purse. He also told police that they had, and I don't know again why this is important, but he was like telling them that they had consensual sex on the 20th of April. And she ended up not taking an apartment at a bath in his apartment. So again, I feel like these little nuggets are going to be important later, and we just don't know why yet. But these
But we
were
don't know that he just offered that up. Cops could have said, when was the last
right.
time you had
Right.
sex?
And this is all literally pulled from the arrest or yeah, what is it called? I forget
The
what it's.
affidavit?
Yes, thank you. So that he said no, she didn't end up taking a bath. But then detectives found a post that Annie posted on Instagram at 8 p.m. on April 24th, and the photo is a selfie of her in a bathtub. And they show him this picture, and he's like, "No, that's not my bathroom." And when police ended up driving Eddie back to his house, and they walked through with his consent and noticed it looked like the same bathtub. So like
Instagram doesn't
already,
lie.
well, but it's already like, okay, why are you lying about it if she's taking a bath or not? Could say she got in the bath, we had a fight, and then she left. I don't know. That part is like, why are we lying? Uh,
Yeah.
very interesting. So yeah,
Very strange.
I would say that was just his recollection of what had happened, according to him.
So he's already lying. It's not a good sign.
Right.
According to arrest documents, on May 1st, 2021, at 3:47 p.m., Ginger Miles reported the discovery of a deceased female at the bottom of an embankment near mile marker 5 of Eklutna Lake Road. The Anchorage Police Department said her body was found at the base of a cliff, a semi-rural area at the northern edge of Anchorage's municipal boundary. And Jenna mapped this out, and it's about a 17-minute drive along the main highway that Thomas's house was off of.
And just so it's like, because like, Google Maps is a little bit hard to read, but like it looks like there's a main highway and he looks like he lives fairly close to it. But on the other side, it's all greenery and all it could be whatever. It's all nature. And then like right by where she was found is like a campground and stuff. So it's like obviously kind of a wilderness area.
Yeah, it's funny. A lot of people, I used to, when you think of Siberia, Alaska, people just think of like
Mm-hmm.
a tundra, just like an empty snow. And it's not.
Right.
There's dense forests and tons and tons of trees. Like it would be so difficult to search an area like that.
Yeah.
Anchorage police responded to the scene, and the female was later identified by fingerprints to, in fact, be Jerilyn Bessie Nicholson, or Annie. Crime scene personnel did not observe any obvious signs of cause of death, which is interesting. When you're found at the bottom of a cliff, which has
Yeah.
been called an embankment or a cliff, I mean, I don't know. That seems so strange to me that she wouldn't show any signs. That sounds like a strangling or suffocating or something more personal. What else do we know about Eddie Thomas Jr.?
So to back up, yeah, you're if you're gonna assume like if someone's on the bottom of a cliff that they fell, you're gonna have abrasions or something to
Yeah.
at least on the outside to show what happened. So I'm sure that already for them was like, doesn't feel right. So
Yeah. I wish we could see how high it was,
that's
because
a
if it's
good
a small
point.
embankment, maybe you would think like, okay, she wouldn't have any signs. But if it's a cliff, yeah, she'd be swollen and black and blue and all of that.
That's actually a great point. It's kind of a ADD sidebar. An embankment. Like I think I actually briefly knew someone who was walking home drunk next to the road and there was a little embankment and they just happened to fall the wrong way. And I think they like broke their neck or something and they died. I mean,
Oh,
so it can happen. I think that that's more, I mean, you might be able to tell right away about a broken neck like that, but it
yeah.
can happen for sure. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, Eddie Thomas Jr. already, he's got a little bit of a past. In October of 2020, police responded to an intoxicated 911 call from the couple who were drinking. Thomas was arrested for disobeying a lawful order, interfering with a domestic violence report, and resisting arrest. He was arraigned and prohibited from having contact with Annie, and the no contact order was actually active at the time of her death. So again, suspicious. Thomas was also arrested on January 23rd for driving under the influence, resisting arrest, and violating release conditions, according to the charging documents. So it also sounds like he might have an alcohol problem too, right? Like driving under the influence,
Yeah.
driving while intoxicated. Uh,
That's a lot of charges. That's a long rap sheet, and he's not telling the truth. It's not looking good, allegedly.
Allegedly, he might have an alcohol problem. So Thomas was actually jailed and he had a $25,000 bond, according to the Anchorage DA's office. And he was arraigned on May 5th, and his next appearance will be, wait for it, June. We have so much happening.
Yeah.
But he's using a public defender. But really quick, so I went down like a bit of a Reddit hole looking for more information because there's really not. I mean, this is going to be a very short episode from us, and which is not typical from us, but there's not much out there. But I anticipate a lot more coming to light as soon as like the autopsy comes and all that kind of stuff. But on Reddit, there was a girl claiming to be an ex-girlfriend of his. So I'm just going to read you her post. So it said,
Ex-girlfriends never lie.
well, no, but it was interesting because she was very clear to say like, well, and I'll tell you after I read it, but
Okay.
and it's on Reddit of all places. Like, anyways, okay. So it said, I had the misfortune of dating him at one point. I am so terribly sorry for her. Okay. When I saw this, my heart broke for her and your family. People think it was an OD and he panicked, but I think he did it. My mom called me that morning and said, your dad and I are absolutely convinced he killed her. I've been shaking all day. I've been so anxious about running into him because she's obviously from this town. And then she goes on to like say something else to the family. But she goes on and like the rest of the thread to talk about she was never physically abused from him and she wouldn't feel right going to the police because she doesn't feel like she has any information because people were like, go talk to the police. And then she said it kind of came out later that she says she did suffer from emotional abuse and controlling and he was manipulative. And she said that with her it wasn't that bad, but she had heard from mutual friends or whatever that it got way worse after they broke up. So kind of an interesting possible history from him. Again, this could be totally full of shit, but it was like a small, not one of those big Reddit threads that, people are just going crazy. It was like a small little thread, kind of seemed like a weird place to lie about things if we were
Yeah.
going to. So anyway, moving on. Police ended up obtaining surveillance video from a liquor store that was 1/4 of a mile from Eddie's apartment. And Annie was actually on the surveillance video at 9:41 p.m. on April 24th, and she was purchasing alcohol.
So wait, he didn't say that. He said that they drank alcohol at his apartment.
No, that he said they didn't drink at all, that she wanted to have a bath and a drink, and he said no, and that she left after an hour of being there.
Did
So
he say if she brought the alcohol?
she didn't know. It just said she wanted to have a drink and they got in a fight about it and she left. So
Because that's another thing he didn't say. If she went to the liquor store or maybe she just got a
right. So
drink for
did this
herself and drank.
come like this seems like it was after, like, did she go and then come back? It's weird.
Yeah.
So, in the video, she's got a blue plaid flannel shirt tied around her waist, and detectives observed a matching shirt hanging in Eddie Thomas's apartment during their walkthrough.
Ooh, that's not good.
So that's not great, right? Let me just double check the time that he said that she left, just so okay, so he tells them she left after an hour of being there, whatever that means. But then she was okay, so her picture from the bathtub was at 8 p.m. So this alcohol run was well after that. It's 9:41. So I don't know what happened in the meantime, but
She was alone on surveillance video.
yeah.
Okay.
So in footage captured on April 27th at about 11:29 a.m., Eddie Thomas Jr. comes from his apartment, opens the front passenger door of his Subaru, re-enters his apartment, and a few minutes later returns outside carrying a lifeless human body. He then places the body into the Subaru's front passenger seat, closes the door, gets in the driver's seat, drives off, and this is according to police. It says that the body appeared to be Annie due to the hair color, length, physical size, and clothing that matched what she was wearing when they ultimately found her.
So here's my question. Since they saw that, obviously they haven't released that because it's a pending case, but they say she's wearing the same clothes and hair. So she's not even covered up. So he's carrying her like she's just incapacitated. And I wonder, I'm sure they've studied the footage enough to see like if she was like limp still, if she was stiff, like that. I don't know. That's crazy to have that on video.
Yeah, I mean, not to be, but how freaking dumb are you? You're just walking around with like a dead person in front of a camera? I don't understand. Allegedly, I don't understand.
So he's
Um,
just gonna say she was drunk.
I mean, I didn't even think about that, but that's a really good point. He could just say she was passed out and I was taking her to, I don't know.
Yeah.
DA Daniel Shorey, he tried to push for a cash bail of $100,000, but the district court judge Michael
Logue.
Logue, thank you, said that the charges that Thomas is currently facing do not justify the high cash bail that the prosecutor is asking for. So instead, the judge set a cash bail of $25,000 or 25, yeah, $25,000, and he ordered a 24/7 electric monitoring house arrest and a court approved third party custodian, meaning Thomas will have to go back before a judge in order to be released onto bail. I don't really know. It sounds like a lot of jargon, but he's getting a lower bail because he's obviously not being charged with murder yet. They have him on video.
But they must not have enough to go with the murder charge yet. So they just, they just told somebody on like
Yeah.
an unrelated charge. So
Yeah.
that unrelated charge must be a low level crime, and the court can't have, it has to be blind. They can't be like, well, it should be higher because of that. It has
Right.
to
No.
go by the law.
And listen, the judge is doing his job, right? And I totally get it. And it's just got to be frustrating. After Mr. Thomas was seen on video loading Miss Nicholson's body, lifeless body, into this car, he drives off. He drives up to the valley. He comes back later on the day. He goes out with friends and plays frisbee golf.
Okay.
I mean, he just has like no concern for this girl who just drives. He's just gonna go hang out with friends. No, no big deal. Let's go play frisbee golf.
Wow. That's sociopathic, having no conscience type of behavior.
Oh yeah, and so when police investigated, when they interviewed the friends, they said that he wasn't acting strange at all. It's totally normal. Nothing bizarre. The DA went on to say, given that the surveillance video clearly shows him loading a body into his car and coming back without that body, that's a bit disturbing. I think that goes to show how dangerous Mr. Thomas actually is. Someone who is comfortable playing frisbee golf after disposing of a body down an embankment on Lake Elkalutana Road. I'm sorry. And then Annie's parents and three siblings spoke during the hearing to voice their concerns about him being released on bail before a trial. And her father ended up saying, quote, he may or may not have caused the death intentionally or otherwise, but just the fact that he took her corpse out of town, threw it over a cliff, shows a tremendous disrespect for human life.
So there again is another inference that she may have died under other circumstances, but then it was being awful enough to dispose of her. So yeah, maybe they can only get like tampering of
Okay, so to clarify, sorry I didn't have this earlier. Thomas was charged with tampering with the body, concealment of a corpse, and a trio of conditional release violations. And then obviously more charges will come through once they finish their investigation, because this is just started on what, 2 weeks ago this happened.
Yeah, so hopefully they're able to get more evidence and bring further charges.
Yeah.
Annie's cousin Kelsey is an Indigenous activist who has organized events and policy change related to missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls and to spirit relatives. May 5th is National Missing was National Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls Awareness Day, which
is
have to
crazy
have a
because that's
day.
when this all like was coming out on the news. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Annie's father, William Nicholson, said in a statement that their large family had come together to console one another. We're dealing with this as a family, he said. She was a wonderful, wonderful angel, and we're grieving her loss.
It's so sad. And I know we don't have a lot of information. I know that might be frustrating to some, but it's something to keep our thumb on the pulse of, because I think, once things, again, autopsy, more investigation, things are going to start coming out and we're going to see more information come out about this. And it sounds like if you got him on video, you've got to have a pretty solid case, right? But then I guess you're right.
No, if you don't have evidence of the murder.
I was gonna say, or you're right. And a defense could be like, well, she was drunk and he thought he would just go put her somewhere to sober, who knows what they are going to try and say at this poor girl, but
If you'd like any more information on this case or involving an Indigenous person, please go to the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women USA website at mmiwusa.org. And I mean, educate yourself. There's a crisis going on in Indigenous communities, and girls are going missing, and sexual assault is rampant, alcoholism is rampant, and this feels like a time when minorities are getting their moment, and I think it's time for Indigenous people. I mean,
I
my
agree.
goodness, they've been there's no comparing, right? Like if I say
No.
they've been through the most, everyone will jump on me. But yeah, it's time to do something. It's not okay that these girls can go missing and nothing happens.
And you can add them on Facebook too, and they're constantly updating with current missing people, and then they will update if they're found or if they need help. Or it's a really great resource to help. I mean, they seem to be doing a lot of stuff to help find these missing women, and good for them.
Yeah.
And you can donate to them.
Yes, definitely. They need donations. They need help. So head over to that website if you can. And then, Jenna, let's talk about our weekly recommendations.
My
What have
gosh,
you
I
listened to or
feel
watched?
like I don't really have. I'm like on a repeat because Mayor of Easttown has all of my attention right now. It's so good.
It's
It's
really
so
good.
good. But I did see, how like if you follow like one Wondery podcast and you get all the
Yeah.
trailers for everything. So I forget,
The
I think
vaping
it's
fix.
no, I don't wanna. I got one for the LA Times Presents
We love
today,
them.
and I love them, and I started following it, and there's 2 episodes, so I haven't listened to it yet, but it's the trial of, I forget his name, Frank something, and he's like a lawyer, a defense lawyer that like ends up going on trial for murder or something. I don't know. It sounds really interesting. So
Where did it happen, in LA?
in Montecito. So I was like, oh,
Ooh.
okay. So that sounds, and I really like the guy who narrates it. I forget his name. But he kind of, it sounds so weird. It's a Bravo reference, but it kind of reminds me of Josh Flagg in a way. And so I love it. Like
Yeah.
it's easy on the ears, if you will, but it
Gotcha.
sounds like it'll be a really interesting one. I've never heard of it.
That
But that's
sounds
not
good. I have listened to I think it's called the Vaping Fix. It's Wondery, just because I got one of those things that you were talking about, the preview.
oh, I was gonna
And
say 'cause I got one of those things.
oh, the jewel. No, I've never had a jewel. But it is really interesting. And the story of like how that company came to be and how they knew that it was like terrible.
Terrible,
Well, it
yeah.
was like a good idea in the beginning.
Right.
But anyway, I think that was good. Mayor of Easttown's
So
amazing.
good.
And then I this past week, the episode of OC Swingers was
Oh, I did
fantastic.
listen to that today. It was really good because I'll be honest, I was getting irritated with her previous episodes when she did the court stuff because I couldn't hear anything. And
Yeah.
then she would kind of come on and say a few things, but I'm like, and then I was just like over
Yeah.
it. But this one, she plays a lot of courtroom like banter, but you can hear it very clearly of like what's going on. And I think this is one of the better episodes for sure.
Yeah, and she does repeat the things that they say that you can't hear this time. She must have gotten feedback because I was frustrated with those episodes too. But this one was really interesting to hear the relationship between a judge and attorneys, and the attorney trying to stonewall, and the judge just keep trying. It was really, really entertaining.
It was entertaining when he was like, he kept pressing her and he's like, "You're not a politician, right?" Like that, not like him or something like that. And I was like, oh my God, he was like really
Yeah.
giving it to her. But then when she like gave him what he wanted, he's like, okay, great. I understand where you're at. I totally get it. Or something
Yeah.
like that. Like, what is happening?
Law is so crazy. Like they get
Ah.
so emotional, then it's like, okay, it's black and white. It's fascinating. It makes me miss court TV. Did you ever watch court TV?
Not
No.
really.
Oh, I
I would be
loved
more
it.
into it now than I would have back in the day.
I guess they have it again because my dad said he's constantly watching it.
I think I heard that actually. Funny enough. I don't know
Yeah.
on what, but I think it is back.
So that's it for the recommendations.
Yeah, and then I know this is short again. I just anticipate this next. Okay, well, first of all, we're
You
taking
just said 7 sentences.
I got nervous. Okay, I don't know. I anticipated what I was gonna say, and I got so out of nervous and all the things. So
You're so cute.
we're taking a few weeks off because the love of my life over here, Miss Brittany, is moving a couple states away and needs time to get her shit together. Understandably so. So we're gonna take a few weeks off. You may see me in here a few times because, like I said, June is gonna be out of control with all of the different hearings and updates that are going on. Hopefully, they're not just continuances of things, but yeah. So
we're both thoroughly codependent, so you may or may not see some mini-sodes and things here and there, but have no fear. I will survive and I will be back.
Sounds good. We're excited for your new adventure, and have a good couple of weeks off from here, not in life, because you're about to get slammed by a train, I feel like, with just life. But
don't remind me.
Don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, share, follow us on Instagram, go to our website. We're on Twitter. Or I mean, not on Twitter. What is it?
I was like, we're not
TikTok.
Twitter folk.
Not Twitter.
We're on TikTok. Yeah, TikTok.
And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. All right, so
Okay.
be safe
and trust your gut.
See you later.
Bye. Everybody.